our basic partner blocks, the Agi-uke, Churan-uke, and Geron-uke. And again, as you should know by now, my videos are intended for people who cannot get to a dojo, who don't have a training partner. It is meant to assist people who are doing solo training but would still like to learn the martial arts, and people who have the imagination to take from the video that I'm giving here against a dummy with pool noodle arms and be able to translate it over to what it would be like against a partner. Understand, there's nothing better than working against an actual partner, working against various partners, different heights and strengths and weaknesses and weight groups. It really, you need to work with a partner to fully understand and learn martial arts. But the world is so that sometimes you don't have a partner, so you've got to make do. So, against the limbs here, you're going to keep the limbs together. If you need to, you can take the two limbs and just add some duct tape around them, but you want to work it as one straight arm. We're going to press in, and what I want you to focus on is the angle created between your arm and the dummy's limb. That's where you place your other arm. So you don't put it under your own elbow. There's no point behind that. You want to bring it close to that, inside that angle, close to your opponent's arm, and press towards your opponent. Now, because there's not a second arm coming your way, you're going to release, you're going to press in and up, and in and up, in, up, in, up, and one more, in and up. Now, let's look at how this movement can be applied. One way, your opponent is strangling you. Now, when you are being strangled, the odds are the limbs aren't this straight. It's highly unlikely someone's going to strangle you like this. They'll be in your face and it's a dominating act. So they will be in your face to kind of smell the life evaporating from your body. So, imagine the arms are around you here. You don't have a lot of time. If the blood is blocked from reaching your brain, there's no oxygen coming your way, you cannot breathe, you need to get out of this as quick as possible. If you could stick your fingers in your opponent's eye, yes, do. But I would maybe do that plus the next movement, which is to drop your shoulder and just plain and simple take your body out the way here and then come back. The back movement gives you control over your opponent. The initial movement helps you to break free of the grip. So from this position here, you might be pushing your fingers in the eyes, you might be pressing on the arms, but you're going to drop one shoulder, you're going to roll the shoulder right through until you reach the opposite arm. Then you're going to bring the whole arm back and you're going to attack your opponent. Maybe lock the arms, knee kick, bite, spit, yell, tear the ear off, whatever you need to do to get away. Right, so that's the face block. Another way to look at the face block is you are being punched. There's a lot of punches coming your way and you've got your arms on the inside here. Now, when you look at the movement 1 and 2, 1 and 2, people tend to think, oh yes, so that means I have to strike in and up. But if my arm's already on the inside, how am I going to do that? That's not the important part behind this. If my arm's on the outside, relative to my opponent's arm, I bring my other arm into that angle. If my arm is on the inside of my opponent's arm, I bring my arm into that angle. So it doesn't really matter that you need to be blocking in before you block up. The idea is the angle between your arm and your opponent's arm. Once that is created, that's where you want to be going. So from this position, you've been covering, you've been fighting back, big strike comes your way here, you find the right opportunity to control that arm, there's your face block, quick pull back, and you start hitting your opponent. So that's a second explanation of how we use the face block. Let's look at the chest block. So, again, if we take the limbs as one arm, in, same thing with the angle, but we're pressing forward. We are not pressing side. It's not a window wiper technique and I'm going sideways. It is a forward movement, and that is why most often in the katas you see it with a forward motion. So from here, when you do this, you are pressing. You are pushing in, into that gap and press. You can see I'm keeping my hands open because it's not about the fists. It's about the movement of your arms. In, follow that gap, cross the arms and press. In, into the gap and press. And make sure you are pushing towards your opponent. In, into the gap and press. So, how do we use that movement? So first of all, if we know that the movement is going towards our opponent, same as with a face block, which could be a strike, could be a controlling action. Exactly the same applies with the chest block. So let's say again, we find ourselves on the inside of the arms here. A good way to look at it is your breathing kata that does a double chest block. So from this position here, to get the arms both on the inside, control your opponent. The dummy doesn't have very nice shoulders, but imagine some shoulders here that you can grab onto and you lock. Now you've got your opponent's arms on the outside of yours. You're controlling the shoulders. Any strikes coming your way, you can manipulate and control here. And if you're quick enough and you don't allow your opponent to come first because you are controlling your opponent here, you can give a nice headbutt, you can give a nice knee kick. It opens up the possibilities. Now, it doesn't have to be two chest blocks at the same time. It could plain and simply be in this position here, moving in. One arm pulling, one arm pushing. Again, let's do it on this side here. If I'm controlling this arm here, and I'm pressing this arm forward, maybe grabbing the shoulder again, I'm controlling, I can start opening up possibilities for strikes. So again, for this one, I'm being hit, I maybe catch one arm, press one forward. Arm shouldn't bend like that. Probably you've already won if that happens. Grab the shoulder, control the other arm, and there again is your chest block. It doesn't have to be on the inside. It could be that if I'm in this position here and I want to be pressing the arms away from me in control, then it almost follows the same movement as the face block. Now, something to remember, face block is ideal whenever the arm is above your collarbone. So if your opponent's arms are above the collarbone, the face block works perfectly. If the arms are below, it is easier to either use the stomach block, which we'll get to now, or the chest block. So if I'm in a position here, it might be easier to control the arms in this position, maybe give a quick strike under the chin, control the arms, and continue the fight. Right, let's look at the stomach block. Now the stomach block, let's take it as one arm again. We press in. Now we've got this angle here between my arm and my opponent's arm, and I block down. I press in. We look at this angle here and down. In, down, in, down. Right, so now once you understand the basic block there, start thinking how would it be applied practically. If my opponent's grabbing my clothes, I'm just going to hold the hand to my clothes here. He doesn't have a very nice grip to him. So from here, if I bring my arm around, I'd be able to do some damage to the shoulder. If I'm strong enough and I find the right gap to do that, I can do damage to the shoulder, lock the arm, and again my opponent's ribs and side of the face is open. Alternatively, you push through and you can come up for a choke, come through for a tackle, get behind your opponent. There are many reasons why you would use the stomach block in that way, to drag yourself past your opponent and clear the arms. If the arms, now just to highlight the difference between the face block and the stomach block, are above your shoulders here. If you try this, you're going to lock yourself. If you try this, you're going to lock yourself for the face block. So what you want to do is have that feeling of, right, these are a lot of punches coming my way. That would be the chest block. There's a grip above my collarbone. That would be the the face block. I'm being grabbed. Can be grabbing my arm, my wrist, my clothes. Below the collarbone, stomach block. Right, I hope that kind of informs you as to how you practically use these three blocks in terms of fighting. And again, the dummy can only take you so far. You will need to practice this against a real live human being. Have fun.